Welcome, everybody, to the Six Rings Kane Show. This is Jazz Santana here, joined by Paul Austria and Danny Gillette. Thank you guys for coming on the show. We appreciate it. We got a lot to get to, even on another week where the Canes will be idle, I guess you could say, right, battling COVID-19 as we kind of close down the end of this week, really, because we got Thanksgiving coming up. So obviously this will be the only show that we do this week. But first and foremost, Danny Gillette, Paul Austria. Before I forget later on, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, by the way, man. And I love I love the shirt you're wearing, by the way, Danny. That a boy.
Hey, no problem.
That's what I'm talking about, kid. So obviously, we'll kind of get into some of the most recent news, which is the college football playoff rankings finally came out today at 7 p.m. And Canes fall into the 10th slot, which is not a bad place to begin. Canes come in at number 10 in the country in the college football playoff rankings. The one that's a little bit of a head scratcher is probably the team that's right beneath us at number 9, with Georgia being a 5-2 team. However, they do play a tough schedule in the SEC, so they probably have that they're kind of, that I guess the committee is hanging their hat on right now. But really, right now it shouldn't be anybody with any losses, or maybe even one loss. That's really where we probably should be right now with the top 10, right? As you can see, Florida comes in at number 6, and Texas A&M right below them at number 5, and the top 4 are exactly what we thought they would be. Alabama coming in at number 2, Notre Dame at Alabama coming in at number 1, Notre Dame at number 2, Clemson 3, and Ohio State 4. There's no doubt in our minds, though, Danny and Paul, and I'll get into this because we'll talk about just college football as a whole tonight, and then get into some Canes stuff a little bit later also. But there's no doubt. Is there a doubt? Put it that way. Is there a doubt in your minds that Clemson will be the number 1 team in the country had they not lost Trevor Lawrence in that game against Notre Dame, and they beat Notre Dame?
Oh, for sure. I think, if they're going to win out the rest of the season, they're definitely going to be number 1. I think that, I think people have made comments about like their defense not being as stellar as they have in the past. But it's funny because I came across a story today. I think it was about, it mentioned, I think we mentioned on our previous show that, we compare Miami's defense. I think they're the 39th. He said last week.
They're in the 40s, in their upper 40s, like 47 somewhere. Alabama's like 45. So
yeah, and I think Jock mentioned how it is kind of a shift that teams are kind of focusing more on their offenses and it's more all about just seeing what defense can make a stop. And I feel like if Clemson were to make a few, like, think about it, against Notre Dame, they hung in there with a true freshman quarterback. And I mean, the defense just, they took the team to overtime. I mean, it was a close game, and at the time Notre Dame was still a top 4 team, and if they won that game, that their resume would have been even better. So I think that if they just took care of business in that game, they'd be totally fine. But I mean, and even right now they're 3rd. I feel like they're still looked at very highly because it is Clemson. They've won a few championships in the past, so I think. They definitely would be number 1 if they won out.
Putting the bias aside, Danny, is Notre Dame a top 2 program in the country right now?
Yes, I think so.
Truth, right? We're gonna hate on them, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Ian Book has impressed me a ton this season. I mean, honestly, I've said it before on the show. I've never been really convinced of Notre Dame, but this year they've kind of shut me up, which is hard to do, as you both know. They played good football. So, I mean, they have proven that they can hang with the best. But it seems like the college football playoff is their kryptonite. So, we'll have to see. I just don't want another bad game. I want a good game, That's all.
At least for them to be competitive. I mean, look, right now, had Clemson not, hindsight's 2020, I get it. Had Clemson not lost that game to Notre Dame would not be first of all, they wouldn't be in the top 4, right? So but again, we're playing, I'm playing the result that never happened, of course, right? So Clemson would probably be the number 1 team in the country. Number 2 would probably be Alabama right now, maybe with Ohio State at number 3, and then throw in, Texas A&M or even a Florida at this point at that number 4 spot, because the truth is, I hate to say it, but Florida's a hell of a team, right? They're a hell of a football program right now, and they're kind of firing on all cylinders at offense. So it is what it is. But there's some other teams that are behind them, like Northwestern. Big surprise, although they're playing really well this year. Big surprise, they're coming in at number 8, if I'm not mistaken. And I think who was number 7, Danny? Do you guys remember
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, that's right.
Yeah.
The only non-Power 5 team that made it to the top 10 college football rankings. Some other surprises, obviously, are teams like Coastal Carolina that are playing really well, and some others like Tulsa who jumped in at number 25. So, it's fun to see that. And the reason why, I just think college football is so different this year with all the cancellations, COVID doing a number on everybody. I think that had this been a regular college football season, you might see some of the teams that are maybe not so good right now, maybe even teams like Penn State, be a little bit better. Micah Parsons probably plays. Now you got Pratt Fryermuth, who got hurt, who's out for the rest of the year. So I think there's a lot of differences. Greg Rousseau probably plays for the Canes, and we have the nation's best defensive front four, right? Yeah. I mean, where do you put them? You don't even have space to put all three of those guys with Roche Phillips, who's arguably, according to a lot of writers and people out there, Jalen Phillips is the best defensive lineman, best defensive end in the country right now, according to a couple of people. I know he's up there with the Patrick Jones kid from Pitt and all that. So it's exciting to see. And I guess I'll turn it over to the Canes now, coming in at number 10 in the country, 7-1. Some people might say, well, hey, who have they really played? And my answer to that is, who have they really beat, right? And my answer to that is everybody that they've put in front of them, which is exactly what they needed to do, with the exception, Clemson being the exception, of course. But, aside from that, they beat everybody. Yeah, and have they struggled at times? Sure, but so has everybody else. Okay, because Alabama's had their struggles with some teams, and they end up pulling it off and blowing people out at the end. They're scoring a lot of points. I understand we may not be at that Alabama level just yet, but I don't know if Alabama has struggled the way we have when it comes to COVID either. I mean, missing 13 guys a couple weeks ago and still pulling it off against a tough Virginia Tech football program, and of course the week before with NC State, who beat Liberty last weekend. Liberty was the talk of the town, right? Number 21 in the country. They just beat Virginia Tech. Oh my gosh, Hugh Freeze has it going over there. And albeit they won by 1 point, but they still won, right? Which is kind of crazy, as you can see how the college football landscape is shaping out. A 44-41 football game with NC State, and then the next week they only score 15 points. So it could go any way, man. This is a crazy ass season. I mean, honestly, that's the truth. Miami's doing a hell of a job of staying in it, fighting, playing hard. De'Ara King is the biggest reason why. I think without De'Ara King, we're probably not 7-1. We may be more of a 4-4 program. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say 5-3. Okay, because there's some of those games where he just pulled it out of his what and came through big. So what are you guys seeing from some of these top 10 programs? Could you see a big shift coming up now the next 2 or 3 weeks in college football with the college football playoff rankings? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of up and down with the top 10 specifically. Who do you see kind of jumping out and jumping in? We'll start with you, Danny. Go ahead.
Well, first, I kind of wanted to make a comment on Northwestern being as high as they are. I mean, you talk about, people say, who has Miami beat? Who has, this team beat? And this year, more than ever, it's not about who have they beat. It's about have they beat the team on the schedule, and are they putting up a winning record? And you're seeing it more times this year. Northwestern, for example, is not a sexy football team. Northwestern is a team that pounds the ball with Drake Anderson and Isaiah Bowser, and they have a strong running attack. Miami, they have had some problems defensively, but they've beaten everybody on their schedule, like you said, with the exception of Clemson. So more often than not, you're just going to see teams who have played who they've played on the schedule, and it's going to be important to just kind of remember that. It's not about teams and what they've done or the opponents they've played. It's that they've beaten the teams on the schedule and done so in a convincing fashion, or else they wouldn't be in these rankings.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, Paul and some the Jet 305 just mentions if we win out, we get the Orange Bowl. I think that a couple things have to fall our way with Notre Dame. I think losing, maybe they might have to lose a game in order for us to get into the OB, because I think that they would get first dibs from the ACC and the Orange Bowl. But I mean, there's a strong possibility that would be fun, because a lot of writers and a lot of people in college football are pinning us to against Florida in the Orange Bowl. That would be exciting. Do you see us getting to that game? Yeah. Do you see us getting to that game though? Is that still a possibility?
I mean, I'll be one of those. I'll be one that I don't want to say I'm playing devil's advocate, but I am worried about what's going to happen with Miami for the rest of the season in terms of COVID, just because it's a very messy situation. And we talked about it last week, where especially this week, where players are coming home to their families. You don't know what they're dealing with at home. Because if one of their family members is asymptomatic, they meet up. That's what it takes, and then they'll figure out the whole quarantine period is very, very complicated. And because they're not playing for another 2 weeks, they're not in control. Like other teams like Oklahoma, Indiana, Iowa State, even BYU can jump in the top 10, totally take Miami's spot, because Miami hasn't really, they don't have anything to kind of, I don't want to say they have anything to prove, but they can't really prove anything until December 5th when they play Wake Forest. So
Right.
it's a really sucky situation, and I really hope that they can play at least the last two games. I mean, hopefully hopefully not the third, assuming that they're in ACC Championship contention. I mean, we'll see about that. But man, a UF Orange Bowl, I will find a way
That would be
to be
exciting.
there
Oh no,
as
we'll
a
be there.
fan,
Yeah.
at least. Media will be cool too, but I mean, as a fan, you don't see a UF matchup, often. I think last time was 2013, right? When that really sloppy 13-9 game. So it's gonna be very interesting, and Florida still has they have a lot of good athletes on defense. I kind of want to see. If Miami knows that it's a rivalry game, will they come in with a different mindset? Knowing that it's a lot of guys they've probably played against down here in South Florida. So it's going to be fun to see.
Listen, in 2013, the game wasn't the only thing that was sloppy. Let me tell you that. But I digress. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a complete what show. Just all around. But I mean, think about it, man. If they open the gates at 6:00 in the morning for that game, I don't know if you were there, Paul, but
not that game. I watched it. I watched it on TV. I just remember Tracy Howard with the interception.
Right.
That was that Duke Johnson's?
It's the only thing I remember. I was so
you must have had a great time from the sound.
when you start the party at 6:00 in the morning, I mean, what else are you gonna do, man? It's like going to space after hours. Like, come on, are you kidding me right now? Yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, it was Duke Johnson, the Duke Johnson show with Tracy Howard getting that pick at the end too to kind of seal it off too. So that was fun, man. That was fun to. I mean, well, a little bit that I did watch, but anyways, I digress. Getting back to what you guys are talking about. Look, the Kings got to win out for period, right?
Yeah.
They got to do whatever they can. They got to win their games. Control what you can control. You kind of nailed it on the head, Paul. They're idle right now, so they can't. They're probably chomping at the bit to start playing some football, man. Because watching all these teams play and the rankings move up and down. I mean, it's crazy that they win a football game, they drop 3 spots. They don't play and they move up another 2 or 3 spots. So, like, what are the people who are doing these rankings, right? The College Football Committee or AP or the coaches board, whoever it is that's doing this, what are they seeing from day to day that says, well, they were 12 or 13 last week, but they didn't play, and some of the other teams like Indiana lost to Ohio State by 7 points.
Money. They're seeing money in big names.
It's got to be, right? But although you want Miami, listen, the Hurricanes are a big ticket item. They're a big money item. So right now, if you told me Miami wins out and they win the ACC championship game, you got to put them in the 4, right? The college football playoff, right? You have to, right? If they
Yeah.
beat Clemson in the ACC championship
Oh
game,
yeah,
Miami's
the
a college
resume,
football, right?
the resume with that win is enormous.
Yeah,
And
and
especially just looking at and the fact that like I mean look at the strength of schedule, they play Clemson twice, and they should catapult. What I mean, I don't know if A&M has A&M played Alabama yet.
A&M, yeah, they did. Yeah, I think they did. I think they did.
Okay, they
I
could
could be
probably. I
wrong.
mean,
No, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question.
I feel like Notre Dame has to lose one though, just to be safe, because
Well, here's the
I'm
thing.
worried. I'm worried
Here's the-
about they had to leapfrog like through 5 teams to get to
Right.
top 4.
Well, here's the thing,
And
right?
it's definitely crazy to me, just thinking about it, and I'm not saying they're good, that Ohio State is the 4th team already. They began playing less than a month ago, and they've already jumped to 4. Now, they are very talented, don't get me wrong, and they will probably be there in the end. But they've
Right.
played 3 weeks, and they're already in the top 4?
Yeah. And I mean, Oregon's 3-0, and but apparently they don't look good enough, so they're at number 15 now, and they were like at number 9 or number 10 earlier. So, I mean, it's a crapshoot, man. But for me, it's about here's the biggest thing, right? You get a 1-loss Miami football team who wins the ACC championship game, and then what happens? Here's the biggest thing: what happens if Florida plays Alabama in the SEC championship game and beats Alabama? Now, Alabama's a 1-loss team. Florida's a 1-loss team. You got the Hurricanes, right? Are a 1-loss team who won the ACC championship game against Clemson. What do you do there? That's a tricky position, right? Because you're going to want to put Alabama in because everybody knows that they're good. If they slip up against Florida, Florida is really good also. So where does Miami play in there? You're going to have do you get 2 SEC teams in the playoffs and Ohio State and Notre Dame? Does
I'm
Ohio
going to be on the committee trying to figure that out, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, Notre Dame wouldn't be in there because at that point they wouldn't have made it to the ACC championship game. So I mean that's crazy, man. There's two. Here's the thing now: Clemson loses another football game. If Clemson loses another game, they're out, and we win out. So now it's Notre Dame, Miami in the ACC championship game, and I think that's just as exciting as if we were to see them play Clemson, honestly, if not more, because of the rivalry with Notre Dame, the hatred between Notre Dame. So there's a lot of things that could still happen. I mean, who does Clemson have left on their schedule? Do you guys know?
Let me take a look.
Clemson.
I mean, that's important because if they have some tough games, although they had FSU, and obviously that they were according to Antonio Cromartie, the FSU was going to lose by 80 in that game, which is probably what was going to happen. They were 35.5-point underdogs in the game. So
Clemson has Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech remaining.
Pittsburgh. Hey, look, very easily they could drop one of those games. Okay, Pittsburgh's a top 10 defense. Pittsburgh, and they have Kenny Pickett back, right? He hasn't declared, has he? Opted out? Because I know there was some news about him opting out. But if he hasn't opted out and they got Kenny Pickett back, that's going to be big. Pitt against Clemson, that might be a bigger game than people expect. And then you still have Virginia Tech, who's scary because they can with Hendon Hooker they could put it on you. Or they can completely lay an egg. It's happened. Obviously, we see what's happened with them. But so those are 2 tough games for Clemson. You never know what could happen there. At the end of the day, we have to honestly the easiest road to the college football playoff is if something like that happens, right? If Clemson drops, then we face Notre Dame, who we feel more it is what it is. We feel more confident playing Notre Dame than we do Clemson. I mean, we haven't been Clemson in like 8 years, so. There's a lot that can still happen. So it's pretty exciting to see what's going on right now. Truth be told, because of the situations with COVID, this has been, I hate to say it, but it's been one of the most exciting college football seasons because there's so much uncertainty and we don't know what's going to happen from week to week. And Paul, you just mentioned it, right? There's nine more games that have been postponed now for this week coming up.
This weekend, Arizona State is on their 3rd straight cancellation.
Wow,
it's a weird streak to mention, but I think the USC just canceled practice. I don't even have the whole list, man. It's 9 games is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It's a lot of games.
Probably some really good games too. So.
And
That's
I hate to keep bringing this up, but we'll have to see what happens after Thanksgiving and these kids come back to campus. You never know.
yeah,
I mean, that's something you got to keep in mind too. I mean, like I said, I hate to bring it up, but you
that's the
know,
reality. It's the reality.
yeah. We're definitely seeing all like sorts of cases skyrocket around the country, and they got to be prepared for anything in regards to the season.
Well, speaking of those cases, and speaking of what I was mentioning earlier with Clemson's schedule with FSU, obviously a lot of people, thought that last week FSU kind of uh, chickened out, right, and decided to bring up, cancel their football game last weekend against Clemson because the doctors couldn't get it together to agree on playing the game. Clemson traveled with a person who had symptoms and tested positive. That's the other rumor out there. So allegedly, all of that has to do with it, except for the fact that we all know that, FSU probably said, "What the hell? Why are we going to play this game and get smoked?" And let's just use COVID as an excuse. Do you think it was an excuse, Paul? I know you've been reading some stuff and learned a little bit about what's going on at FSU. Basically, right now, they're going through tough times. It's the downfall of the Florida State program right now. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on there, what we can expect from them.
So I'm kind of like divided because I could kind of see it coming from both sides. Um, if Florida State truly did not want to play this game, then they kind of had. Luckily, they had COVID on their side. Sounds kind of weird.
I
As
know.
their scapegoat, to say like we don't feel safe. But on Clemson's side, I think what happened was so they did have a player earlier in the week that tested positive on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday he tested negative, so they let him practice, and he's with the team. I think, but there's another player that they suspected had it. I think so. They were waiting results, and thing is, he boarded the team plane and bus with them on the way to Tally, um, and then they found out after the fact that he was positive. So that to me is a little weird because okay, if you're not sure that if he has COVID or not, to play it safe, shouldn't you just keep him at home?
Yeah.
Like just to be sure, and like because I can understand Coach Norvell looking after his players because it's if you don't know he has COVID, I mean he could spread it to FSU, and that could really screw up FSU's program. I mean unless the players are playing with masks, which probably will not happen. I don't foresee it. To me, it's a
Nah.
little complicated. Then that's messy. But man, I'm not sure if Norvell commented on it after, but I don't. You guys have probably seen the Dabo's comments in the press conference afterwards, where he's like, "I'm not." I think so Norvell. I think Norvell said I think it was something about the just them handling COVID over there. And then Dabo was like, "Well, yeah, I've been coaching here for the past 8 years, while they've had 3 to 4 head coaches, and they've had 3 head coaches in the past 4 years. Why would I take advice from them or something? And Dabo was basically like just hammering down the whole. They pitched out. They didn't want to play us. They knew they were gonna get creamed. They didn't want to see it. But I could totally understand Florida State's perspective. We're just like it's. It's already a crap show, and and thing is, FSU. I think FSU would have made money, just from having the game attendance,
Yeah.
tickets, all that. They would have made money. So I'm sure and plus with FSU's athletic department being damn broke, they definitely could have used the opportunity. So I think that it's kind of funny to watch. But
It
to
is,
me,
and you know why it's funny though, because when we were down and out, when we were having issues, everybody was ranking on us. Everybody was putting us down, especially FSU and Florida Gators and the rest of college football that never wanted to see Miami succeed or get back on top, right? And college football is better with Miami football, with Miami Hurricanes football, no doubt about it. So the problem I have is that there's still bias. There's still a lot of bias and against the Miami Hurricanes because there's so many programs out there that are having issues and getting caught for cheating and the sexual assaults and the abuse and this, that, and the other, and
yeah,
and the racism that's out there and all the crap that all these programs do. Slap in the hand, slap in the
yeah.
hand, slap in the hand. But
I think
Miami, they want to break up the
LSU
program.
has that dealing with that now.
LSU's dealing with it. Are they talking about, hey, LSU shouldn't have a football program? No, but the Miami Hurricanes shouldn't have a football program because of things they do. So I hate that. It drives me crazy. I don't think it's ever going to end. But at the same time, I hate to say it, but it's kind of fun playing the bad guy. I can't wait until we beat the living daylights out of everybody again, and because it's coming soon. Miami's on the rise. They're getting better. It's becoming a better football program. You got the right people around. Listen, I got to give props to a guy like President Frank as well, who supports every single sport, not just football. But listen, the Canes baseball program is on the rise. They've got a great program over there with Gino DeMari as the head coach now, and I definitely, obviously right now is not the time to talk about it, but they're doing well. They've got a great recruiting class. They've got some great guys coming back as well. So we definitely want to talk Canes baseball when the time comes. I know. Listen, I'm a baseball guy, right? So that's my first passion to play college baseball. So that for me is it. But they've got great programs, great sports, and you got to give it up to the administration for putting them in a position to succeed, whether it's financially, whether it's with the right hires. They're just doing a great job over there. So it's kind of tough that we still get that bad rap as the bad boys of college football and this, that, and the other. But at the same time, we've got to embrace it and just continue to move forward and continue to win football games. Things are going to change. So, and on the recruiting front, you see it already, right? With guys like James Williams and Leonard Taylor. And there's another guy that, and I know that I'm kind of going off now on the recruiting front, but Malik Murphy, I had to bring him up because we all saw video. Malik Murphy throwing the football as a 2022 kid out of Georgia that has an offer now and interest from Miami. That kid's a program changer. That's the kind of kid. He reminds me a lot of Justin Fields, that type of quarterback. So I'm pretty excited to see what Miami has to do, what Miami will be doing in the coming years with recruiting and their program as a whole. So, guys, we're going to see now. I mean, this is going to be the first week with the college football rankings now, and you'll see teams come in and out. And Miami will probably. I want to say that Miami's probably going to move down a spot or two just because they're idle, and you're going to see some teams win and probably move back in, unless the committee, really kind of does their due diligence and understands that the position we're in and things like that. We're just going to have to continue to win out. So, I mean, I'm pretty excited to see what's going on. Danny Gillette, Paul Austria. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving, man?
Just having Thanksgiving at home. I'm trying to keep it kind of low key. I don't want to go out too much with this virus. You never know what's going on. So I'm going to keep it low key, have some turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, chocolate pudding pie, hopefully. I'm crossing my fingers. But it's a good time. As you can probably tell, I love eating, so this is a great holiday for me.
Brother,
So
I'm with you there, man.
I'm gonna dish out a hot take right now, for all the viewers watching and you guys too. I know it's part of the tradition with turkey on Thanksgiving, but I do think that turkey is a little overrated.
I've had to fight with my mother for turkey on Thanksgiving, so I totally get. But I'm gonna.
It's dry. It's on the dry side, right? It's really dry. And thing is,
not my turkey, bro. Not my turkey. My turkey is not dry. Been making it for about 10 years now. It's not dry.
Okay,
but
I need to go to your house next year.
Come on over, bro.
I do prefer a nice honey baked ham.
I'm with you.
Like that glaze on the outside. Oh my god, it's so worth the money. I don't even. It's just hope my family friends are not watching this because they keep trying to invite my dad over, and I kind of don't want to go just for the sake of COVID, just to be safe. So I'm gonna do my usual tradition, which is grab Boston Market for lunch because they're open, and I'll grab like a ham, like a 3-piece stock or something. I think I have chicken for like $12 with like 2 sides. Their chicken is really good. Other than that, I'm trying not to go too crazy on Black Friday. Hopefully, I'm not an idiot with some of these.
What are you? You don't have to go anywhere. I mean, it's all online now, anyways, right?
It is. Yes,
Don't get
exactly.
stabbed over a TV, Paul.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not worth it.
Don't get COVID
Oh
over
no,
a TV either, bro.
I don't
COVID,
understand why
You know?
why do people buy TVs every year? Like, how long do your TVs last? Like, that's
I
like a
know.
burning question in my head. And plus, also for everyone Black Friday shopping for TVs, I don't know why I need to mention this. But a lot of companies do make special TVs just for Black Friday, so you may be getting a great deal, but you might only have one HDMI port, or
Ah,
Ooh,
there's something in
good
the
to know.
quality that's a little off. So, I mean, some of them are still good deals. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you just got to be careful and make sure you actually do your research with the tech specs on all these TVs. So you guys know.
Paul Austria spitting that
That's good
fire,
to know.
that Thanksgiving hot takes, brother. Hell yeah,
Just so
man.
you know, FYI.
Karmic Bead. So I think I'm saying that right. Sounds kind of. Anyways, Karmic Bead. Turkey is 100% overrated. You're so right on this. Yeah, man. Listen, I get
Boom.
it. Although I will say that I'm going to be honest with you, man. My turkey is awesome. So I've made it a certain way. Recently I've kind of switched it up a little bit because I want to switch it up. But I've made it a certain way where I brine the turkey overnight. I brine it overnight
Okay.
in a solution, so I can keep it moist when I do cook it. But I keep it in the solution like a big Home Depot, one of those 5-gallon things with ice.
Oh, like the okay.
Just pop it in there because I make my own brine. So I make my own brine. I pop it in there, and then the overnight, and then the next morning, clean it off, season it. Then I pour some. I lay on some nice bacon on top of it. Boom.
Oh my God.
Put it in the oven, and then I baste it with some maple syrup. All right, for
I'm gonna
maybe
fly to your house, Jazz.
3 hours. Get out of here, you stupid
Get
gator.
out of here, Manny. Bye,
All right.
Manny.
Baste it in maple syrup about 3 hours. Take the bacon out. The bacon is perfect. Then baste it again. You just hate because you don't know how to cook, man. This is the problem, man. This is the show for real men. This is the show for real. I bet you she'll eat my turkey. This is a show for real men.
Oh my
All right?
God.
Damn right, Ice Cube. You heard what I said. Say something, Ice Cube. That's right. That's right. No, don't give me no Nick Young. That guy's terrible. Get that guy out of here. All right. I'm just saying, man. My turkey is spot on. That's all I'm saying. All right. It's fire. You guys are look post COVID next year. Might have to do a five Reasons Cane's Friendsgiving, bro. You all can come
Oh
to my house.
shoot.
Danny, you
I
gotta
could use
get.
a nice warm vacation down to Miami.
Yeah, man. It's probably colder.
That.
It's probably cold as hell up there right now, huh?
25 this morning.
25, nice and
Jesus.
crispy.
I'm not sure I
Nice and
understand.
No
crispy.
bueno.
No,
We just
not at all.
we
man.
just hit the 60s. I think in Miami. I
Ugh.
think like this week, so it's nice and cozy, and you can go
You
outside
lucky-
now.
You lucky bastards.
No, I prefer it to be a little colder, man. I want it to be like in the 40s or 50s. Are you kidding me?
Same.
That'd be warm for up here. Jeez.
I know. Tell me about it, man. But I'll take that. I'll take whatever. DJ's favorite Thanksgiving. Oh, okay. So let's do that. Boom. That's how we. What does that even mean, Manny? What does that even mean? Oh,
Ethan, if you're watching, fire Manny on the spot. I don't care if there's a toast in front. Fire Manny on the spot.
All right. So before we get out of here, favorite Thanksgiving meal or favorite Thanksgiving kind of, I guess, food, Danny.
Chocolate pudding pie with graham cracker crust and whipped cream.
Damn, you went with the dessert. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Paul, what do you say, brother?
So I actually did not try stuffing until like 2 years ago, and I feel like stuffing is really good. I love me some mashed potatoes with gravy.
Mhm.
For dessert, I went to I think I went to like a family friend party. I tried Dutch apple pie for the first time, and
Ooh.
oh my God, Dutch apple pie is like my
With the crumble on top? That's fire.
yeah. Oh my, it's like, I mean, regular apple pie is good, but man, when you add that crumble, that exterior, oh my God, it
I'm
changes
coming to your house
everything.
next year. Forget about it.
You
I'm
guys
coming to
are
your house. I'm buying my ticket.
Danny's like, I'm just gonna make rounds. That's it. I'm just gonna go hopping over here in Miami and
Yeah, man.
South Florida. That's awesome.
Publix makes good Dutch apple pie, by the way.
They do.
Like
They do.
the $6 one, the Southern one is really good.
Well, I'm actually gonna make an apple pie this year. I'm not gonna make the Dutch one. I'm just gonna make the lattice top. But I'm doing You're terrible. That's terrible. Clam chowder served as a dish in Boston.
Okay, Boston clam chowder is legit though. There's one place I
It
went to up
is.
there.
It
It's
is.
really good. It's so thick, but not too thick. It's really good. It's like
Yeah, but not
$8
on
too.
not on Thanksgiving though. I don't think, right? Right, Danny?
No, not at all. Not at all. That's just a terrible stereotype. So
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead. You have to hide in there.
Stereotype. Okay, so I'll get to mine. Honestly, like my fiance makes I wasn't a big green bean casserole guy at all. I hated that crap. But my fiance makes a mean green bean casserole, so I got to give it up to
Yeah.
her. And a corn casserole that's awesome. But my mom's mashed potato, it's a ranch mashed potato, is off the hook. And of course, my turkey is the best ever. So whatever, Manny, screw you. Okay, you're just crying because you can't eat it. But yeah, man, I just love it all. I'm a fat ass. I love it all. It doesn't matter. So it's all good. Paul, Danny, look at this guy. Get over it. Go back to work, man. Paul, Danny, thank you guys for joining us on the show. I hope you guys have
Absolutely.
a blessed Thanksgiving, man. Always love, even for Manny in the back for producing the show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And
You know I love you, Manny. You know I love you.
yeah, we still love him.
I don't want you fired.
I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we will catch you guys soon. Again, thanks for joining us. Go Canes.
Okay.
Go Canes.